Sit down.
You can if you want to get right back up.
Okay, I'm up.
Okay. We'll call the meeting to order. Will you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Yeah. We have a roll call, please.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Grover.
Yes.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion?
Second.
Motion from Vaughn, second from Hill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Aye.
Thank you, Tim. Keep forgetting there's a delay. Motion is carried. Next on my agenda is the oath of office for our new officer.
Last time, Bonnie, you were afraid to go down there.
This one doesn't look like he bites. The last one could bite.
Chris, you didn't bring the dog. No. Okay.
Give you a copy of that.
Thank you.
So I don't know if you want to kind of turn around there in case they want to do some pictures or anything.
All right.
We will get started. So if you raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Skylar Gilbert,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all duties of the position of patrol officer
discharge all duties of the position of patrol officer
in the City of Independence
in the City of Independence
as now or hereinafter required by law.
as now or hereinafter required by law.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
Now we just need to sign your life away. 3 of them. Does he get to keep one of these then?
One of the small ones.
Okay. You got all 3?
One more.
Chris says he is.
Skylar, do you have family here you'd like to introduce?
Yes, I do, actually.
Okay. Let me get one sign here, just a second.
The council wants to be sure that smiling.
For the background.
Smiling. I'm gonna do my best to give someone bunny ears.
You got bunny ears?
I got a very funny photo of the two of us after the last council. We didn't, not very happy. Really. It was pretty bad.
You keep that one.
Thank you.
I'll take these 2. Oh, I'm sorry, did you not get yours? We need to get back?
Do it again. You've got some other people.
Need to do it again? You got some other people want to?
We didn't look very enthused.
Okay.
Don't move. Don't move.
Is that your mom?
That's my aunt.
Your aunt?
Yes.
Very good.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Appreciate
Welcome
it.
aboard.
You're not sure?
Mayor, I believe your new officer has some family members here he might want to introduce.
Oh, okay.
Actually, yes, I'd like to thank, I have my dad back there, my dad's girlfriend Elva, my girlfriend Madison's next there, my brother Tanner, my aunt Lori and Renata are back there, Lauren, Steve, Jeter from Independence here, as most of you probably know, and I got my uncle Doug, and my cousins Megan and Katie. I'd like to thank them all for coming, I appreciate all the support.
This is a family get-together, huh? Fantastic. Yeah, I have a feeling that when he leaves, the place is
Yeah.
cleaning out real fast. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm just glad they're all his family and are not here with complaints.
We were kind of worried, weren't we? Okay, Moving onward, next thing on the agenda is public comment, and nobody is signed in for that. So we will go on to accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following: the minutes of the February 13th, 2017 regular meeting, Quick Trip Incorporated change in ownership notice, and Quick Trip Incorporated Class C beer permit and Sunday sales, April 1st, 2017 through March 31st, 2018. Thank you guys for all being here.
Fire drill?
Yeah,
Cow. On that note, I'll make the motion to approve the consent agenda.
okay, motion by Grover, seconded by Bill. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right.
Opposed, the same. I didn't hear Deb.
Deb,
Deb,
You,
did you hear
Yes.
the motion? Yes.
okay,
Yes, I approve it, yes. Aye.
okay, thank you, Deb.
Could I interrupt you for a moment?
Yep.
Did you say that, did you say that Quick Start is changing hands?
Quick Trip Incorporated has ownership. It should be on your
It
agenda.
it changed hands?
It's, isn't it one of the attached documents?
Yeah.
There was a Quick Trip in there.
It's one of your items.
You know, I offer a night that I was running.
The title
late,
Quick
so
Trip
I didn't
license
have to
application
watch
owner.
But the reason we're doing that is because they changed hands, right?
They have to renew their license anyways because it's expiring, and they changed in ownership when they submitted their new application.
Okay.
It was like a secondary owner, I think. that
Okay.
changed.
I was just
Yeah,
curious.
You weren't serious, were you?
I know, I didn't, that's why I didn't say it very loud.
Okay,
We'll be moving right along.
thank you.
That's why I didn't say
I
it.
was reacting to
No.
his comment. Okay, next on the agenda is to approve the claims. I need a motion. and a
Got a
second.
motion.
Motion,
I'll second, I'll second.
second by
Denny
Lennius.
Vaughn.
Vaughn, I said Vaughn, second by Lennius. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Next on the agenda is Officer Lau for his report. We always like seeing you.
Well, good evening. It's been a while since I've been here for an update on code enforcement due to scheduling and things like that. And we've had kind of a weird winter, so I haven't been nearly as much to report on snow removal issues and things that we normally do this winter. The first snow that we had that was measurable, that stuck around long enough to actually get out and work with, I visited 36 homes, I think, and that was just in the southeast side of town. I didn't get a chance to get to the other quadrants because the snow melted too fast. So, but I was very busy on a few days there going door to door in the southeast. I've also started kind of canvassing the neighborhoods, looking at junk properties and junk vehicles again. That'll be starting real soon here, as soon as spring hits. We've had a few really nice days, and I've actually worked a couple properties on complaint basis and getting those taken care of. But we're looking at moving full force with that here shortly as soon as spring hits. But we have worked on a couple properties and managed to get some work done on those with those nicer days that we had in the 70s and whatnot. So looking forward to another year of code enforcement and trying to keep the city cleaned up. So
Sounds
What's
good.
the progress on that one I was talking?
the one up in the northeast.
Yeah.
I spoke with subjects there. He was actually waiting to get his tax return to get his truck back to be able to make hauls to the dump. I went by, I gave him till March 1st when I talked to him last week, and I went by and he has quite a bit of the stuff already removed from the property, and a vehicle that he had on the property I see has now been moved and licensed and up and running. So, but I'll revisit with him come March 1st to double check that he does have everything taken care of and then move forward. And I spoke to the neighbor who was the complaining party, I think, and explained everything to him when I was up in that neighborhood working on stuff and had a good conversation. So I will keep him.
Told me you stopped for
Yeah.
coffee. But I went by there today, and the only thing I actually noticed was gone was 2 fish aquariums.
Okay, those
the only
fish.
thing I noticed
Yeah,
was
the
that.
fish aquariums were moved, I think, last week. Those had been moved.
Yeah,
And I went by
that's true.
today, and they had a van. The van was actually parked out to the street now, and it looked like it had updated registration on it and stuff. And there was quite a bit. There was some mattresses and some other things there that I didn't notice. But like I said, come March 1st, I'll be over there and actually walking around the property and touching
I
base
see
with
he's
them.
got a pickup there now. too.
Yeah,
I mean, a usable vehicle.
Yeah, and the problem was is him and his wife had lost their jobs and the vehicles got repoed back to Hazelton or Owine. And so as soon as he got his income tax money, he went up, got his truck back, and now is starting to make hauls up to Waste Management, so.
Well, I was wondering, because I didn't really see a lot of progress. I just,
Right.
2 fish aquariums
Well,
on that pile wasn't very
Yeah,
much.
and it may end up like I've got, a handful of them around town that it's the ones you have to constantly stay on to get their stuff cleaned up, and they get it cleaned up, and then you get a month down the road and stuff starts piling back in. You just gotta have an open line of communication with them and stay on them to let them know that, we're still watching, you're not just gonna get away with it like you might have
Part
in
of
the
the
past.
problem, I think, is that hedge he's got around there. He thinks as long as it's on that side.
You can
nobody
hide it
see
behind all that hedge there, yep, but,
Yeah.
no, it's still pretty noticeable, so.
Well, it is now, there's no foliage on it. All right, thank you for your time.
Anybody else have any questions? Or
No.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you for your time.
Glad you come and do that. I don't see John Evers.
John Evers.
He's on the agenda.
He asked to be put on, but he didn't tell me he wasn't coming.
Okay. You might want to contact him and see if
Like
we
we
need to
skip,
get him the next time around or something.
talk to a different insurance man, I guess.
I don't know, he's usually got a check for us, it's kind of nice.
Oh,
to
where's
have him
John
come.
at? He's got a check.
Yeah, usually he has.
They can renew it without him here if they want to.
Okay, then next
Did you
thing-
want to take on the insurance renewal, or do you want to wait for John to come and visit?
I think we ought to wait.
Is it due?
April 1st, our insurance policy expires, so we
Well,
have some time.
Well,
Yeah.
we got-
Let's
Get it on
wait.
next month's agenda or something,
Yeah.
check and see why he wasn't here.
Yeah, let's wait.
I didn't think the agent needs to be.
No, that's fine, I just want to make sure that we're on the same page.
Yeah. Okay, hearings and ordinances. Number A is planning and zoning, wind turbines, Chapter 3, Section 3.24. This is the second reading. And so I need a motion to receive and file and consider adopting planning and zoning ordinance for the second time. Or you can make a motion to suspend the rules and waive the second and third readings.
I did have a question. I see under file attachments, it says planning and zoning wind turbine not to be sent to codification. What does that mean?
This doesn't go to Iowa codification because it's not actually going to be put into our city code of ordinance. It goes into the planning and zoning ordinances. So that's why, that's just for us internally to not send that one off to them and include it in any codification that we go through.
Okay, so it doesn't delete or dilute the.
No.
Okay,
That's
All
just for us, so we know not to pay for that one to go in.
thank you.
So whoever's making the motion needs to say which one.
I would suggest that we don't waiver it.
Okay, so do you want to make a motion?
Now, when we make this,
I'd like to know why.
when we
Deb.
make this, when we make this motion, is this wind turbines won't be in the city limits?
Right?
Specifically, it limits where they could be placed within city limits. It does restrict it more completely than what we have today. I don't know that it 100% precludes them, but it does make it significantly more difficult.
Yeah, it just regulates them, Deb. It doesn't preclude them.
I don't think we need those in the city limits either.
Well, I'm not sure that we can exclusively eliminate them. I think you'd run into some legal arguments that would say that you're discriminating.
Correct.
But instead of eliminating wind turbines, you do dictate where they're allowed within city limits. And it does reduce the number of locations that would be viable.
Now, when it says wind turbines, does that include every,
I guess I'd like to see where they would be allowed in the city limits.
does that also include the size of the wind turbines? Like, you can buy one for $100, it's like that big. And when we think of wind turbines, we're thinking of a multi-million-dollar one that we see up in Storm Lake and other places. So what are we talking, is it defined as to what size the wind turbine?
Yeah, there are different parameters that are defined in there. And for example, under your definitions, your fall zone is going to depend on the size of the turbine. Those multi-million-dollar ones up by Storm Lake, they won't fit in town in general. Maybe out by the high school.
Couldn't fit it in town.
Well, when you look at the restrictions, that one would be difficult. But I think the biggest concern is not that type of a wind turbine as much as those that would be on a monopole, sitting in your backyard.
That's what we're talking about here.
That's the most likely turbine that you'd be dealing with, the smaller
There's different
residential.
kinds of wind turbines too, there's a kind that go this way and there's a kind that go that way.
Well, this one is going to,
So I just
fit.
wondered if it was defined enough to where,
Pull it up on your screen.
oh, I don't know how to do that.
This is basically the same ordinance that the county has, and they spent a lot of time putting it together. I think rather than trying to define each
Everything.
wind turbine, it does go by, as Al said, how much shadow fall you have, those types of things, that's so that you don't have some neighbor that suddenly looks like they're, got blinking lights outside their window all night, all day. And it has how many feet it can be from, and,
I think it's pretty well defined
Yeah.
myself.
well, for example, your setbacks, it has to be 1,000 feet from neighboring dwellings if it's a non-commercial turbine, or if it's a commercial turbine, it has to be 1,200 feet. They define setbacks from the property line as 1.1 to 1.25 times the height of the turbine, so that if something happened, it stays on the property that, it was erected on. It also defines setbacks from road right-of-way, railroad right-of-way, setbacks from other structures. I mean, it's fairly detailed as to where it can go. It does limit it pretty significantly. But of course, the smaller the turbine, the closer the setbacks can be to the property lines or to other dwellings. But it really protects those people adjoining the property where the wind turbine would be proposed to be
Right.
constructed.
Well, they've got them so small you could, just big enough barely to charge a battery in your car,
Well,
It's just, well, I'm serious, I've had them
well,
for years.
but that type wouldn't be much different than somebody putting one of these miniature windmills.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one of them in my backyard too.
I mean, and that's not a problem. We're talking about when it does cause the neighbors, problems. That's what we're attempting to get at
Hey,
here.
so Deb, do you want to not have both readings now and just do one reading so you can take a closer look at it?
Yes, that's what I would like.
So are you making the motion, the first motion that's on the ordinance?
Yes.
To receive, file, and consider adopting the planning and zoning ordinance for the second time? Is that your motion?
What was that again?
The first one that's listed on your agenda, this is motion to receive, file, and consider adopting the planning and zoning ordinance for the second time.
Yes.
Okay. And I need a second.
I'll second it. Or Tim.
Well, go ahead.
Okay. So you all know,
I know we're tabling it till next week, or next meeting.
well, you need to pass the second
Right,
reading.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay, roll call, please.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lennius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes,
Grover,
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. We'll be on the next agenda for the third reading.
how do you get out of this?
You get down to the top and out there.
The X.
Yep. Okay, next on the agenda is City of Independence Code of Ordinances, Chapter 155 to 165, Building Code Public Hearing. motion to receive and file proof of publication of the notice of the public hearing is what I first need.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second for that. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Thank you. Next, I need a motion to hold the public hearing.
Make the motion.
Okay. Motion from Grover, seconded by Hill. All in favor, say aye.
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 Are you
Works
trying to
better, doesn't it, Deb?
play it that way?
Sounds like a bunch of tires.
Motion carried, so we are now in public hearing in regards to this, or these ordinances. Did we have any written responses or
I have.
anything like that?
Again, I know that Doug is not able to be here tonight, but this is simply updating our building code, keep us current with one removed, looking backwards on the revisions.
With state codes?
Federal,
State.
international building codes.
Okay. Any other comments? And I need a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments.
You got it.
Motion by Vaughn, seconded by
I'll second it.
Grover. All in favor, say aye.
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 The same, motion carried. Now I need a motion to receive, file, and consider adopting the ordinance for the first time.
Do we do that? Do we pass it the first time and then do the motion to waive the second and third readings? So
Yes.
We have to do it one time? Okay. I'll make the motion.
Motion by Hill, seconded by Vaughn. Roll call.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Grover,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius.
Yes.
Thank you, motion carried. Now, if you do want to do the waiver, the second and third reading, you can make that as the next motion.
I think Mike gets to it.
I'll make a motion to waive the second and third reading.
Okay, a second.
Second.
Second by Hill. You need another roll call for that? Okay.
Official.
Grover,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
No.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
No.
Motion carried, thank you.
Actually, it's gotta be a supermajority to waive the second and third. So it failed. It's gotta be a supermajority.
Supermajority would take, what, 4, since there's only 5?
Yeah.
Yep,
Okay, so it did not.
It did
pass.
not.
It just passed for the first time.
correct.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is motion to receive and file proof of publication of the notice of public hearing for Chapter 92 water rates, Chapter 99 charges based on usage, setting the date for the hearing, public hearing. So we need a motion to receive and file proof of the publication of this hearing.
Well, I'll make that motion.
Okay, seconded?
I'll second it.
Motion by Lenny, second by Grover. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Aye.
opposed the same. Motion carried. Then I need a motion to hold the public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Hill, seconded by Vaughn. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed the same. Motion carried. We are now in a public hearing. Close hearing. In regards to Chapter 92 and Chapter 99.
Karen Connell, 312 Second Avenue Southwest. I just had a suggestion to the council that the newspapers could give a detailed report on these rate increases that you're proposing, and so that they understand what is going on here with this. There will be a public hearing, another one, or this is it?
This is the public hearing.
This is a public hearing.
And it was posted in the newspaper. that it
Was there very much explanation about the rate increase? Can someone go into detail about what the increase is going to be?
We can go into significant detail. It's in the council packet, both the rate study that was completed as well as a a spreadsheet showing current calculated and projected rates for both water and wastewater. The base water rate is is currently at $4 per month. The calculated rate, or the fixed cost of operation currently, is calculated at $11 a month, and the projected rate moving forward was $11 a month. The unit charge for water is currently at $2.48 per thousand. The calculated rate, or our cost of operation today, is at $3.51 per thousand. The projected rate over time is $3.79 per thousand. On the wastewater fee, it's currently at $9.50 base rate. The calculated rate, the cost of operation, is at $15, and the projected rate is also at $15 for the base rate. The unit charge is currently $5.78 per thousand of water usage. The calculated rate, again, our cost of operation, is $7.19 per thousand. The projected rate is $7.82 per thousand. The ordinance does propose taking the current water rate from $4, increasing it $1.40 on the monthly charge for the first year, and each year for 5 years to get to the $11 base rate. Likewise, raising the unit charge by 26 cents per thousand each year for the 5 years. On the sewer rate, it is going up $1.10 a year on the base rate and increasing 40 cents per thousand or per unit each year for the 5 years in the proposed implementation.
So a substantial increase to a certain extent. When was the last time that the rates were increased?
2012.
And, well, you probably don't know what the increase was at that time. This is all being determined through a study that was just done to determine what the increase is going to be.
This was a utility rate study conducted by the Rural Water Association, which does these types of studies, looking at our current rates, looking at our infrastructure needs and operating costs to determine what rates should be today and moving forward. And these are the numbers that they came up with in the rate study. Instead of implementing them in 1 year, it is proposed that we do this over a 5-year period.
Karen, just so you know, we spend a lot of time in our special meetings and everything else, and you might have been here for some of them, but the water and the sewer, all of this, the infrastructure is, I won't say it's horrible, but it's all over the United States. All of the towns our size and age and everything are really struggling with it. And, again, none of us really want to do this, but if we don't, I mean, if we take the position that we don't do something with it, it's going to come back, and each year it's going to cost us big amounts, and we're not going to have that money there. The thing about this is it does go into, you correct me if I'm wrong, but it goes into the bucket or whatever for the street and sewer department. So it's not like an increase that's used for other things. It's earmarked to make those repairs.
The only correction I have is it does not go into streets at all. It does go exclusively into the water fund and the wastewater fund.
Okay.
Exclusively. That's the only place that they go.
Is there a substantial amount of money in this fund that is constantly in there? All of this water and sewer fees that are collected go into these funds. Is there a substantial amount of money in those funds at this time?
There are funds available. I mean, there's current fund balances in there. That covers things like last summer, we had 3 sewer line collapses that had to be fixed that were not budgeted for, water main breaks. There are also water system improvements that our current fund balance will not cover. I mean, that's all taken into account when they do the rate analysis. They have all that information. They're looking at how much is in there today, how much is necessary for moving forward. But those will always have a fund balance.
Yeah.
Likewise, the wastewater fund, the sewer plant fund includes a sinking fund for that day when we have to replace or upgrade the sewer plant. And, now you're into the millions of dollars. We're nowhere close to having the money for that day. I'm not saying we're there today, but, if you have to put $8 or $10 million into a sewer plant, you don't want to have to borrow $8 million.
Oh, you better hope to God we don't have to borrow $8 million. But basically, you have these funds set aside. It's really the general fund, but you have this designated money over here on the side.
No, it
Your
is,
monies go into the general fund?
no, these
They
are
go
not,
totally into these,
these go straight
funds.
into the utility funds. They are not general fund dollars.
They're called enterprise funds. They're totally independent of the general fund.
By
okay.
state law.
okay. My other question was, do we have a plan in place of overseeing the needs of our water and our sewer lines, as well as electrical lines, whatever? The whole ball of wax within the city of Independence, realizing that some of these water lines have been in there for many, many, many years. Is there a plan in place that shows, or that, that you are planning ahead to possibly having to take care of something? Say one street, you might have to replace that whole water line or sewer line or whatever, the main part of it. Have you got a plan in place that how you're going to approach these issues so that you don't get hit with an $8 million hit all at once?
Well, absolutely. Every time we do a street, when we do total reconstruction, the water lines, the sewer lines are being looked at, as well as storm sewers, which do not fall under this. But yes, those have to be included in that. Last year, we did a water system mapping project so that we know where all the the water mains are and the valves, manholes. We are also looking at doing a community development block grant application later this year for water system improvements in the southwest part of town, because the system there has shown itself to be failing, quite honestly, with the valves and many of the water mains. So do we have a plan in place? Yes. We have an ongoing capital improvement program, and that's how we derive where are we going in the projected numbers. How much are we going to have to charge in our water rates so that we can do the improvements to the system over the next 10 years that we can see today?
Yeah, because, I mean, if you're repairing on a gradual basis so that it's not just hitting real hard, then it's not quite as bad. Instead of taking 4 or 5 streets or avenues or whatever and doing the whole stretch, having a plan in place. That was my concern.
One of the things that should point out here is with these water and sewer rates, the recommendation was that that's what we should be at today. So in fact, with gradually putting them in, we're actually losing ground by doing it over 5 years as opposed to doing it all at once. But we understand that it's a shock. And so it's a start, but this won't be the end. These rates that we'll be at the end of 5 years are what we should be at today.
But maybe you need to look at that instead of, the last time it was looked at was in 2012. Rather than waiting for another 5 whole years, maybe you should be looking at things again in another 3 or 4 years,
We did,
Take a peek
and you
at
know
things, how it's
what has
gradually
always been the attitude is that we don't want to raise taxes, so we don't even want to look at it. Because I've brought this up every year to look at raising these rates every year that I've been on the council, and I've only been able to get it done twice because the fact that it's something people don't want to look at because frankly, the study will say we got to raise the rates.
But sometimes you have to look at the whole picture. It's not only this rate increase, it's other things. Remember what's been added on to our electrical charges, what's been added on to little things here and there, a nickel here and a dime there. Pretty soon it adds up to be quite a bit. You talk, you don't want to raise the taxes, but in a way, you kind of are raising some taxes because it is costing people more.
It is, but we're doing user fees. We just had this discussion at our safety committee meeting today. One of the things that cities are doing right now is by using a franchise fee, it's a user's fee. So if you want to keep your house at 90 degrees and use a lot of natural gas, you're going to pay more than somebody that's going to set their thermostat at 68 degrees. It's a user fee. You can control how much is going to go in there as opposed to a set tax levy on your property.
But I worry about the elderly person that can't afford to pay that, and they're turning their thermostat way, way down so that they can afford to pay that and still
They also like
live.
to have their street plowed, they like to have the street repaired, they like to have, be able to use the water. Those things all cost, and I understand exactly
I do too.
your concern, but everything costs, and there's not a free ride anyplace.
The other thing, Karen, you mentioned electricity. I think if you check the numbers, Light and Power has reduced rates twice in the last few years. So, I mean.
Well, I mean,
that has
I'm not bashing nothing, but, you know, something is lowered over here, and then maybe something is increased over here. So, and maybe that's just the way it's supposed to be. But I'm just thinking, there's some people that just can't quite handle some of this increase, and so that was my only point, is that people are aware of what is happening and how this all comes together. It seems like we just are charging people for this, charging people for that, and whatever. And, you know, I think we have to just really analyze it out and make sure that it's necessary, because, you know, we do have a huge debt that we have to pay for, and we're paying interest on that debt besides. So it's still costing us a lot of money. Thank you.
One thing that
Question, Al, is this spreadsheet on the website that somebody could get to look at?
It is in our agenda documents. We can put it on the website.
I think that would be good, because it is hard to kind of go to, though I sometimes have trouble getting clear to the agendas and minutes. I think something like this would be good, that if it was like, you could just call up the city website and there's
Absolutely.
information on the rates.
One thing yeah, absolutely, and we'd be happy to do that. I wanted to point to Karen's point about the affordability issue, which I think you were asking about. Part of the study is an affordability index ratio for both water and wastewater. And according to the report, anything less than 1% is considered excellent, 1 to 2% is considered acceptable. Anything over 2% is considered poor or excessive, over 2.5%. Our current water affordability index ratio is 0.38%. If we implement this entire increase, it goes to 0.7%. So we're still in that excellent category. Likewise with the sewer, we're currently at 0.9. And after the increase, it goes up to a 1.27. So the affordability index is still very much in line.
Karen, I think we should also take away from this exactly what Bob says. We decided as a council to do this in steps. And if you just go home and do the math on this, we will be in 5 years. Each year,
I'm
we're
sure.
behind where
I'm
we
sure.
should be.
I'm sure.
And
All I'm saying is that some people, when it comes time to paying bills, if there ain't no money in the checkbook, you can't write the check. That's all I'm saying. And it happens to a lot of people. Thank you.
you're welcome.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
I don't know why we're going to vote on it for 5 years. I think we should just be voting on it for 1 year.
Well, if we
You think
vote
maybe
on
the
it for
chunk?
1 year, Deb, I think we ought to go the whole thing. I don't
Okay,
think
well, I
we
wasn't
ought
at the meeting.
I don't
Listen
think
in-
we ought to
I
just
listened in
try
on
to
this.
put this off.
I'm not saying putting off. I'm saying doing it for a year and then next year vote to do the other increase. This morning, listening on the meeting, they didn't want to do a 5-year thing on the airport and say that they could lock their fee in for 5 years. So I'm not sure why we're doing this for 5 years.
The difference
1
is,
year is enough.
instead of freezing rates at the airport for 5 years, which meant that, as I understood the suggestion, that there preclude any future councils from raising the rates for 5 years.
Right.
This proposal is designed to implement the known necessity for increase over 5 years. So instead of hitting the ratepayers with the full fee all at once, this would spread it over 5 years.
But we have different council people possibly that wouldn't vote on this. So if we vote on it this year for the increase and then next year the same increase, that's my suggestion.
I would agree with Mike. If we want to do it that way, then we just implement the whole thing this year. We're trying to help people out, but I guess if we want to do it 1 year at a time, then we do the whole rate increase this year.
Why would we have to do that? Why wouldn't we just do the same for the 1 year that we got proposed for
Because
2017?
this is the money that the study says we need for future costs. So basically, right now, what we're saying is this is the money we should be charging right now in 2017. And we're gonna have it, only we're saying we'll do 5 years, as opposed to, as Karen rightly pointed out, we didn't raise anything for almost 4 or 5 years now. At least we're doing a nominal increase each year for the next X number of years.
The council does have the option to implement these rates over 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, whatever your choice is. You also have the option of implementing them at whatever increments you choose to. The only thing I will tell you is based on the rate study, it was determined that these are the rates that the city should be charging to fully meet your financial obligations for operating the water and the wastewater system, as well as doing the system improvements that are necessary to keep the system viable. So anything short of a full implementation means that there's things that can't be done inside of what's already been determined to be the infrastructure improvements that are necessary over the next 10 years in the capital improvement plan.
I think one thing.
That's exactly the point, is if we have this thing, whether we do it all now or in steps, then we know that there's money there, we can make plans. If we just do 1 year at a time, we have no way to make any kind of plans beyond 1 year. That's my take on it.
I think one thing, some of these projects you talked about, what were some of the costs when we've had these sewer lines collapse and?
Oh gosh, anywhere from, a small one would be $40,000 or $50,000. I think the larger ones were in that $90,000 range out behind Best Cobb on the sewer lines. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but they're not little projects. They're not, $2,000 or $3,000 fixes in these cases.
And once we take $120,000 out right away just for emergency, that doesn't leave us much to plan for planning ahead.
Well, you are putting yourself in a position where you're virtually guaranteed of issuing debt to cover your costs with that, because there is not going to be enough money in the fund balance to pay for the necessary system improvements, as well as those things like the sewer line collapses that have happened. You can say that we've addressed them all. 2 years ago, we had 2 sewer line collapses. Last year, we had 3. Now, 2 years ago, they were larger, admittedly, but they've happened in different parts of town. So I don't have any reason to suspect that we've addressed them all or that we're anywhere close to being done with them. On the sewer line. The water line, I will tell you, the water system we know needs a lot of attention.
What
There's
does
just no
it
question.
cost? We've had to replace umpteen valves all over town.
Every time we replace a valve, you're somewhere in that $6,000 to $10,000 range.
You want a motion?
Well, if you're done with discussion, I need a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments.
I'll make that motion.
What, Deb, have you got any more comments, Deb?
No.
Okay, we have a motion by Lennius to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments. Do I have a second?
I'll second it, but I'd like to tell Deb, when I got on the council, 5 or 6 years ago now, and we went to a lot of meetings that was put on by the League of Cities, and that was one thing that they did emphasize, it's a big mistake that cities make, is not putting enough money back for the water and the sewer and other infrastructures, and we've actually made that mistake in the past. Just in our road situation, we didn't do that enough. We should have been doing 5 streets a month, or 5 streets a year, instead of waiting to do 50 streets in 1 year. So you gotta stay ahead of it, I think. So I guess I would be in favor of doing it 5-year increments.
Okay, do you need a roll call for this particular motion or just a majority?
Can you call who was in favor of that last motion to close the hearing and receive and file?
Can I what now?
You never took a vote on the closing the public hearing?
They're still open.
They're still.
The hearing's still open. I'm waiting to know whether you need a roll call to close the hearing. Do you need as a roll call or just majority for that?
Just majority.
Okay, so I do have a motion and a second to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Now I need a motion to receive, file, and consider adopting the ordinance for the first time.
So moved.
Motion
Second.
by Hill, second by Grover, and this we do need a roll call for.
Just for clarification, the ordinance that you are voting on is based on the 5-year implementation.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
When would they see the first year on? We were talking like July 1st or?
Yeah, I think it is set up to, I thought it was May 1st,
That's what I think, yeah.
May 1st. So it would be the billing cycle that starts after the 1st of May. We have to give a date certain for the utilities to start the billing process.
Okay, roll call?
Hannah,
Yes.
Lennius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Grover,
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried.
And this is the first of 3 readings.
Right.
And you'll have all this on, they can just go to city.org or something and.
We'll put this right on the front page under the news and highlight so that it's a spotlight if people want to see it, so they can see it without going a lot further beyond the front page.
I think all you have to do too is like type in City of Independence and the website will.
It'll show up.
See where you can click into it.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. Next item is Buchanan County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan. So I need a motion to receive and file proof of publication of notice for this public hearing. Motion by Vaughn, second by Grover. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion's carried. Now I need a motion to hold the public hearing.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Grover,
I'll second it.
second by Lennius. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion is carried, and we are now in public hearing in regards to the multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan. I was at a meeting just last week and with the 9/11 and our emergency management annual meetings, and this is something that needs to be passed by the different cities within Buchanan County, and I think they need it by the end of March. And we have already gone through this new plan. It was something that Intercog did for us and such, and it's been approved. We've looked through our city one, because this is the county one, and made any changes or corrections or anything they needed, and so this is the final report.
Al, what kinds of things are we mitigating, what, are we reducing the risk or something, or?
Well, the hazard mitigation plan really deals with how do you address issues as they arise. And so, yes, it's hazard mitigation, but the mitigation is in how do you minimize the amount of time that it takes to respond to a variety of emergency scenarios. Do we have places set up for lodging people that get displaced because of a gas leak or because of a flood? Do we have equipment identified that we need for a variety of natural disasters? And, you know, they call it a county-wide. The whole county participates in it because we rely on a lot of our neighboring communities for mutual aid. But it's our emergency management plan, for lack of a better term. And there was several months of going through this to make sure that everything blended and works together, not just in the city, but across, you know, the various communities in the county.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Then I need a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments. Motion by Vaughn. You need to speak loud. I can't see your hand all the time. Come on, you guys, don't just wave your hands. Speak. So people know you're here.
Second.
Okay, motion by Vaughn, seconded by Hill. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion is carried. Now I need a motion to adopt the Buchanan County Multi-Jurisdictional Hazard Mitigation Plan.
I think Deb waved her hand, too.
Do you want to make a motion, Deb? So we can hear more from you?
I make the motion.
Okay. Motion by Hannah, seconded by?
Sure, I'll second it.
Seconded by Grover. Roll call, please.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Grover,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carried. I'm sure the emergency management people will be glad we got this out of the way and did it for them.
That's not one of those that we need 3 readings on. This is
No.
just one and done.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Why are you such a sticker on it, Mike?
No, I'm not. I was gonna say, let's do the next.
Second and
gonna risk-
third.
Risk it and go for 3.
No, that one doesn't need it.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is the offering of sale to dispose of 3 properties. Did I need to describe all that? Or we actually are going into public hearing in regards to it. So starting out, we need a motion to receive and file proof of the publication of the notice of the public hearing for the sale of these 3 properties.
So moved.
Motion by Hill, thank you. Seconded by,
I'll second it.
okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion is carried. Now
Would you like us to always cooperate?
yes, it would be nice.
Actually, Deb had her hand up.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure if she wants to do something, she'll be sure and say, motion to hold the public hearing.
Make the motion.
Motion by Grover. See how nice he does that, you guys? Setting a good example.
He's
Do I,
trained,
do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mike. I have a motion and a second to hold the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
Aye.
Motion carried. We are now in public hearing in regards to the offering of the sale of the 3 properties.
We have just over $34,000 tied up in these properties. The property on 3rd Avenue Southeast is right on Highway 150. It was a property that had a fire. We acquired it, and the house has been demolished, and it's now a vacant lot. The properties on 7th Avenue Northeast, there was actually 3 lots. We acquired the property, demolished the house. The lots were too small to be considered buildable, so we went through the process to turn 3 lots into 2 lots that are both buildable lots. That's where we came up with the 3 properties we have offering for sale. And again, I think the important thing to keep in mind is the city does have just over $34,000 tied up in these properties.
Between all of them, the total for all of them?
Yes, yes.
Is the ones on 7th, is that in the flood zone?
No, there,
not?
I don't believe any of these are,
I know
In-
the
in-
one on Third isn't, but I didn't know. I drove down by the other ones, and I wasn't sure where the flood zone area was down
Yeah.
there.
yeah, no, I do not believe they're in the flood zone.
Okay.
So what, are we talking about just the fact we want to sell these, or do we have offers to buy them, or?
We do not have offers to buy them. We've not offered them for sale. We did have, over the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 months ago, had an individual that was asking about any properties that might be available in town, and of course, these, they were aware that the city owned them. We are not required to sell them, but currently they are not on the tax rolls. These are 3 lots that are viable to put back on the tax rolls. But I don't have people knocking down the doors yet to purchase them.
We don't have any neighbors interested in any of them.
Do we
like
do this
have
with
us.
sealed bid? Is that how we do this, or?
Yes, I would recommend that you accept sealed bids. At times that they will take a sealed bid and then let people raise their bids at the meeting. I mean, you can do it that way if you so chose. My recommendation is you consider setting a minimum bid on it based on the fact that we have quite a bit of money tied up in these lots. With the demolition, the asbestos removal was probably the most significant cost that we incurred. But the subdivision of the lots up north, we had to survey that, and so we have some money tied up in that as well.
I think we have to do a minimal bid on them to get our money back.
I'd agree with Deb.
And I don't think that having for round numbers, if you had a $12,000 minimum bid on each lot, I don't think you're too far out of line, because they do have water and sewer utilities at the lots. Most of your developed lots are selling for more than that.
And they're very flat. There's not like there's hilly areas or anything like that with them, so.
No, they're both,
I would vote for the 20,000 would be better for a minimal bid.
I-
I think 30, what the heck?
you can see,
You have
yeah.
an auction.
The property on Third Avenue Southeast does have a garage that is currently on the property that goes with the property. So, I mean, there's a value to that, I would think, but, you know,
Well, I think $20,000 is a pretty good lot here in town anymore. I think we ought to, before we set our minimum, we ought to talk to a couple realtors and kind of ask them, you know, what the going price is for a lot. I mean, the one in the southeast, yeah, I know where that is. I'm not sure about these others, but, rather than just set a number, I think we ought to do it with a little bit of discussion with the realtor.
Do you have to take bids on it, or can you have it on the multiple listings for a period of time and see if somebody is interested and will come to buy it that way instead? Or does it have to be?
18,000 would be the lowest we take for them. We've got that much in them already.
You can multiple list it.
I mean, can you do that for a few months, and then if we don't get anything, then take bids?
Yeah,
Or
but you still have to
vice
say-
versa, or I didn't know
Correct.
which way would work.
You could multiple list it, but you still have to have set a price.
Right.
And then it's rather difficult, because if you get an offer, then you have to respond to that, and you have to have another public hearing to take to accept the offer,
Okay.
if it's not what's bid, but
So it's easier with the bid process rather than multiple list.
Yeah.
Okay,
But you can do it by MLS if you want to.
okay.
I'm a little confused, Al. You said we got 3 lots?
well,
And
on,
and I'm looking at this total bill and it has 908 7th Avenue Northeast, 500 3rd Avenue Southeast.
the 908 7th Avenue Northeast is the 3 lots that were combined. There was one house that covered all 3 lots. That's the one that has been subdivided into 2 lots.
Okay, I get
So
you
we
now.
had 3 lots, now it's subdivided into 2 buildable lots.
Okay.
And we have one south, right?
And we have one south, so,
Makes the 3, right?
so you have, again, $34,000 tied up in what you're considering 3 lots to sell. So
$12,000.
Well, yeah, the math, Deb, the 18 gets you 54,000, so,
That would cover our expenses.
yeah. But I mean, if we're,
18 is 36.
Well,
no, 18's
18.
54.
the 908 7th Avenue Northeast is actually two lots because we, 2 meetings ago, we approved the subdivision of that into 2 buildable lots. On the spreadsheet.
Or you're not going to sell all 3 of those together?
Well, you would. The 908 7th Avenue Northeast actually constitutes 2 lots that you'd be selling. That's just the address of the property that we acquired, or the house that we acquired that had the lots on it. But the way that Doug split these numbers out, it looks like there's 2. I'm saying that there's actually 3 lots that you're offering up for sale. So you'd want to sell them as 3 separate lots. So whatever our numbers are, the 34,000, you'd want to divide that by 3 to know how much you have to have per lot to recoup our costs.
Are those 3 buildable lots?
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I guess my feeling on it would be is that we're not necessarily in this to make money. We've cleaned it up, and we can make money by doing property taxes. So I would just soon, as long as we can get our cost out of it, to me, that would be plenty, and then we make our money later with the property taxes.
I agree.
Yeah.
I do too.
Karen Connell, 312 Second Avenue Southwest. The one that has the 3 lots, you would also consider, if someone was interested, you would sell that as 1 unit? Or are you saying it should just be 2? You want to sell it as 2, or would you sell it as 1 if someone wanted the whole size?
We've already subdivided it, so it is 2 legal descriptions. They're 2 separate lots. If somebody wanted to buy both, they
Yeah.
would have to bid on,
They could do that.
they'd have to bid on them both
Yeah.
individually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think if we did a minimum of
11.5.
11,000,
Yeah.
12.5.
12,000,
5.
12,500,
Now you're trying to make money, Danny.
Really,
Well, we got to pay for Mr. Carter.
that's probably in here.
That's probably added.
It probably is on the cost on that end, yeah.
It
Yeah, by
is
the time
not,
we get it sold, he's going to have more in it.
we do not have legal fees in that number, no.
Oh, so the 12.5 wasn't unrealistic then, was it?
Well, his rates might be going up, so we probably have to make,
he's.
I was
They
going to
just
say, we might need to
recently did.
raise that.
I would go with 12,500 before we get too high here.
you can't make a decision in public hearing, you have to wait until you come out of the public hearing. I just want to make sure you're aware of that, and you're thinking of that when you approve of the disposal, if you want to set a minimum.
Is there any further discussion while we're in public hearing? Then I would ask for a motion to close the hearing and receive and file oral and written comments.
Got a motion.
Motion by Vaughn, seconded by Grover. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Now I need a motion to approve the resolution of disposal for the properties. Does that need to be specific as to how we're doing it?
Well, the resolution grants us permission to dispose of the properties. I'd ask,
Yeah, the motion should set forth how you're going to do it. If you're going to sell it by, or if you're going to offer it by sealed bid, say it that way. If you're going to offer it by MLS with a price, say it that way. So the motion maker should decide what the terms of the sale is.
I'll make the motion that
Oh,
we.
wait, here, now, we have to negotiate here.
Do we-
If Carter only charges us $140 for each lot, we can sell it for 12 and break even.
I want to point out, your resolution does stipulate at this time that you will receive sealed bids by 12 noon on March 27th, 2017. My concern is if you want to set a minimum price that is not in your current resolution, and you would have to add that language to the resolution before we adopt it.
I'd like to set the minimum at 11.5 so that it would make it, that's one of the biggest problems for people in building in town is to find an affordable. And this is, we want people to move to town, and so if we're charging a reasonable price, somebody's gonna buy it, they're gonna put a house up, they're probably gonna be a family move to town. So I think if we divide it, it's 11,361, and if we did 11,500, we're gonna come pretty close to being, I mean, that's just my feeling.
The little bit we wouldn't have there, we would make up for in property tax fairly quickly.
I'd like to do a minimum 11,500.
Are you making a motion?
Is that a motion, Bob?
We have, yeah, I'll make the motion as it is with the addition that we accept a minimum of 11,500.
How do you
lot.
wanna sell it?
Resolution is
How do you wanna sell it? You want a sealed
A
bid?
sealed
or-
bid.
Sealed bid, okay.
I kind of, my
I'll
feeling,
second
I've
that.
seen it where we say we're going to do a sealed bid, and then we let everybody, somebody doesn't come thinking that's how we're going to do it, then we open it, somebody raises it like $50
I don't agree with doing that. I think we
We just do
we go with
sealed
sealed bids.
minimum.
Somebody offers $1,000 more, say, well, you should have done it before.
Yeah,
I think a sealed bid is a sealed bid and he gets it. Because I remember when we, at least once in the last 3 years, we did do that where somebody came in and offered more, and I don't think it's right.
Resolution would
A sealed bid's a sealed bid.
minimum bid.
So currently, the resolution then as amended or proposed is that we do it by sealed bid on March 27th, 2017 at 12 noon. That is the day of our next, or of the last council meeting in March, so you'll have the bids to award that night at the council meeting if you so choose.
But with the minimum,
With the minimum, that's the addition to the resolution, is the minimum is 11,500.
what do you do if you get two people that have bid the same? Then do you give them two, those two, them two, those two, the opportunity, don't put that in there. To come back, so if they come in at the same for a lot?
Well, that's a really good question.
We just have a Chinese auction right there.
Yeah, I
Bang,
think,
bang.
I think what you do in that situation is you probably just pull a name out of the hat.
Flip a coin.
Really?
with,
You don't just.
with
let
two
them-
bids of the same exact amount?
Yeah, because the way you posted it, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure what we'll do. You could,
We stumped the
That's
lawyer.
why
Why
you're
couldn't
our
you just sit
attorney.
there?
Working on these two
That's
lots.
harder.
Okay.
If you have two people
This
that bid
is-
the
Be
same thing, why
accepted
wouldn't you
at
just have
the
them sit
city
there and
hall
say,
at
okay,
time.
what do you want
This,
to pay?
the hearing's closed.
Yeah.
Hearing's closed.
yeah, you could probably do that.
I think Karen had a good suggestion. We go by the first one that's clocked in.
As far as when they submit their bids?
First one bid, when they come in, they get time stamped regardless, so,
Yeah.
you know, I suppose you could do it by first one in the door.
Yeah, I think you can do it, I mean, you can do it however you want to
I
do it.
like that idea.
Yeah.
What do you do if nobody bids?
Post it again. It
Yeah.
stays on the,
Yeah.
Then we might go to the
Negative
MLS.
Nelly over there.
Okay, would you like to repeat what the motion is before you take a roll call?
Yep, the resolution would be the disposal of property, and it would be drawn with the addition of the minimum bid of 11,500.
and do we have a second?
Yes,
Yes,
we had a
Grover.
second with Grover. So we're ready for a roll call.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Grover,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah.
This is with the minimum bid of 11,500?
Yes.
Correct.
Yes.
Lennius,
Yes.
Okay, motion is carried. Where
We
do
have
you-
the tiebreaker written in there too, right?
So does this
In the
get
minutes.
advertised somewhere, or,
Yeah.
This is advertised in the newspapers and on our website. We'll put it on Facebook, letting people know that we have these properties for
and
sale.
when the deadline is that they need to get their bids in and the?
Correct.
Okay, okay.
Could we send a notice to the realtor just in case they got somebody they might refer to it?
Yep.
And contractors can actually make a bid also, can't they, if they want to build a
In-
spec home, anybody can.
Anybody that wants it. Mike can have all three for $38,000.
There's no fishing on them, Mike.
Mike doesn't want them. But I appreciate the deal.
Appreciate the offer.
Just looking out for you, Mike.
And I appreciate
Okay,
that.
moving on, under new business, next is the farm lease with Zezer. I need a motion to approve the farm lease agreement between the City of Independence and Kyle Zezer. And you have that as your,
Th-
that
This,
lease is listed here.
yeah, this has been an active ongoing lease with Kyle Zezer for 23 acres by the wastewater treatment plant. We opened this lease up last year, sent him notice that we wanted to revisit it. The only thing that we really want to change in here is for the language in the lease to grant us permission to use that property for disposal of biosolids. We have no issues. Biosolids, the wastewater treatment plant generates biosolids. We have to have a place to get rid of them. One of the best applications is to put it right on farmland. And we have the farmland that we own right adjacent to the plant. But the current lease does not give us explicit permission to use it. And that just doesn't make a lot of sense. The current land lease is in line with the corn suitability rating. There's really no changes to make in there. So I'm simply proposing the language change to allow us to dispose of our biosolids periodically.
Does that damage the crop?
It enhances the cropland because it reduces the farmer's need for nitrogen. It's actually fertilizer for him. It's a tremendous benefit as long as they're not planting beans. They don't want to double it up on beans necessarily, but otherwise it's a fantastic supplement to what they're already doing.
How much an acre is this coming out to be?
Oh, gosh, I don't have the per acre cost that I can give you.
Period.
2,000, 4,000
$4,063
annual,
annually.
paid in 2 payments.
Does he have some protection that if he said would plant beans that we're not gonna go? I mean, he needs some guarantee that if it's not gonna be suitable for his crops, we're not just gonna go out there because the lease says we can.
There's nothing in the lease that addresses that specifically. That's been an agreed upon standard. If he tells us what he's putting on there, we don't go out and put it on.
Okay.
And, that's been longstanding with the city. Mark is, as long as he's been there, they've done it that way. It is the city's land, but again, you want to make sure that the farmer has a suitable crop. I don't know that it hurts the beans. It's just been accepted practice that you don't put it on in advance of a bean crop. There have not been beans on that 23 acres in, I think Kyle said 15 or 18 years.
Probably from the biotreatment.
Well, mostly because of the type of soil. The last time he tried to put beans on there, they had some wind. He had a real marginal bean crop. He is going to try beans this year, this coming crop season, he told us, but, which is fine. It's been several years since it's had beans, according to Kyle.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
Is Kyle aware of this?
Yes, we've been talking to Kyle for several months on this. And he has
And he's in
agreed,
agreement with it?
yes.
Thank you.
I'll
Okay.
second.
I have a motion from Lenius, seconded by Hill. Roll call, please.
Grover,
Yes.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion is carried. Next on the agenda is a motion to approve change order number 4 on the 2016 street improvement project, extending the completion date to May 26, 2017.
I mean, they have all the work done by May 26th?
Yes, substantial completion. There might be,
Quantum 25 crews or something?
I think that they're really hoping that they don't have snow until May 1st.
What all do they have to do besides Second Street?
Well, Second Street Southeast is what's left. I think they've got some landscaping and grass seeding to do on the other projects, but.
Second Southwest.
Second Southwest, but really it's,
Storm sewer's already there, right?
yeah.
But just landscaping.
Right.
But Second Southeast is really the project that's left, and that's primarily paving. You know, they'll have to come in, do a little bit of dirt work and regrading, but for the most part, it's just paving that's left to be done, and then the landscaping, the reseeding.
So that's realistic for them?
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
Before you do that, I do want to point out that there is also included in here a small progress payment of $35,000 that goes with the project. They had not turned it in previously, but this dates back to last fall. It does not change the contract price, it's just part of the work that they had done that they did not bill for in previous pay estimates.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Hill, seconded by,
I'll second it.
second by Grover. Roll call.
Hill,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Lenius,
Yes.
Vaughn,
Yes.
Grover.
Yes.
Thank you, motion is carried. Down to reports. Tim is here. Would you like to do a report for your department, Tim?
Does he still work here?
Yeah, he does.
He new employee, we swearing him in?
Pardon me?
Are we swearing him in?
Yeah, swear me in. We've been working the last 2 or 3 weeks with the light plant real well, trimming all the southeast. We're getting a lot of good reports back from it and stuff, and they're getting all the wires. The light plant needs trimmed back. We're getting all the little trees down, and it's worked out great for us for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So as long as the weather stays nice, that's all we're gonna do. We're gonna keep trimming trees.
Very good.
So,
I was gone, but did we sand a bunch of roads this last little storm?
yes, Friday night, the sanders were sent out, and early Saturday morning, they were sent out.
You know, I think at some point in time, we ought to, I mean, I think sanding intersections, maybe that's necessary, but when we look at a forecast and we see that in 2 or 3 days it's gonna be melting, and this happened to me up where I live, it had been snow on it for a couple days, and then it was sanded, but the forecast said it was gonna be 40-some degrees the next day, and it was, it was melting. Isn't there some way that we can look at this stuff, Tim, and say?
This past weekend, when they went out Friday night, they did like the downtown area and the intersections and stuff, or the main, like Sixth Avenue Southwest, where they come onto the main road.
Yeah.
Or a hill, that's all they do is the main spots. They
Those
don't-
things I can understand, but, somebody mentioned to me just today that their street had been sanded, and it seemed a little bit,
No,
logical.
if it's a hill going down to another street, the guys will, because you gotta watch out for that
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
I get that, but just, to be going out and sanding, because
Yeah, not there.
the weathermen aren't always right, but sometimes they get it directionally.
Once in a while, they get a 1% correction.
Okay.
All righty.
Thank you.
I wonder, Tim, why you don't have an Iowa State shirt on there?
I have quite a few of those, but I just don't happen to have one under me.
Okay,
If you come up to our shop, you'll see a nice big Iowa State flag.
okay, all right. I didn't know if your loyalties had changed.
What's that?
I didn't know if your loyalties had changed.
Oh, no, I'm still belong down there.
Okay.
Darwin, do you have any report for the police department? Since you're covering our sound system tonight, we'll let you have it.
I'm doing the best I can, and I
Okay.
hope the recordings turn out fine.
If we get any comments that
If
didn't
not,
work.
I guess you'll send the complaints to me, so.
Okay.
23-minute flight.
We'll have additional squad cars in the community tomorrow. We have, the department is sponsoring K-9 training, for the area. And so, they'll be in various parts of the city working, doing their training. Officer Cass will be attending national certification in Denison, Iowa on March 12th, 13th, and 14th. There was a photo op today with Norby's Farm and Fleet. They are donating canine food for a year. Lieutenant Dave Niedert from Oline Police Department, former sergeant here, is assisting with some grant writing in regards to the canine unit. I believe the grant writing will be going to the Buchanan County Foundation. And they also received a $3,000 donation from a private entity, so
Very good. Okay.
I think that's where we're at for now.
I just have one question. How can you get national certification in Denison? Wouldn't Las Vegas or someplace be a better locale for national certification?
For the record, Bob, there has been numerous training in Las Vegas, and my training's never been approved for that in the past, so,
So his isn't either.
no.
You got it.
Correct.
Tried.
Trickles down. Thank you, Darren. Deb, would you like to be the first one for our city council members for any reports?
I've got nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Austin?
Other than still kind of feeling fuzzy from Friday, nothing else. I spent all day Friday on a forklift outside, so sorry, I've still got a bit of a head cold.
The fact that you stayed awake through the meeting was good, huh?
It felt like an accomplishment because I've been up since about 4 this morning.
Not good. Okay, thank you. Denny?
I don't have anything at all tonight.
Okay, Mike?
Only a question. When will we get the last meeting we had? We decided to narrow that down for the choices of the engineering firms to, do we say 5 or 3?
2.
3.
2.
No, it wasn't 2, but was
Uh,
it
three.
3?
We're going to talk about
But
it here.
anyways,
We're going to talk about it here in about
okay.
3 minutes.
Then I have nothing.
Okay, Bob?
Nothing. We had a public safety meeting today. Public safety entails the airport and police department and fire department. We've got a couple of recommendations that will be coming to the council from the airport committee pertaining to insurance coverages and T-hanger rent. Police department, we basically talked about the new officer and I don't think anything else. Fire department, they said there are a couple of weeks left on their EMT training, and there looks like a pretty good number of them that are going to pass it, so that's a good deal. Denny, did I miss anything?
Nope.
Okay, that's about it.
Okay. Carter, you have anything?
Nope, we're all caught up and hopefully stay that way.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Gina?
Last week I spoke with the state auditor's office. Our annual audit will be back soon. We had our findings returned from our IRS audit, and we will have a conference call on Wednesday, and then we'll take those findings to the finance committee. Susie wanted me to ask everyone to please bring in their code books. She has prepared some supplements until we can take our code as a whole to codification. So she'll have some additions to your books for you.
We have a time limit on that.
As soon as you can get them in, so you have the updated code, in case anyone asks questions.
When we do the code book updates, is that ahead of the online? I mean, you know, we can go online and see the codes, but if we have,
When we actually send them into Iowa codification, they return the CD back to us. So as soon as we get the traditional ones back from Iowa codification, then the CD is updated and we put that on the website. What Susie is giving you is just some supplements until we get through the whole code, so we can just send it all at once to save us some money and get it all
so
done at
our
the same
code
time.
book is actually
For-
more correct than if we go online.
For right now, it will be, yes.
All right.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Al?
Tim and I have both gone through the streets RFQs. We have it narrowed down to 5. We do have it narrowed down to 5. We have 2 options. And the reason I said 5 is because, quite honestly, there's really, going through it, that seems to be where the break is in the scoring. If you want to only interview 3, I'll send those out to you tomorrow, and you can let me know which 3. But really, the top 5 for the streets RFQs were very close.
Okay, it's
I would-
okay with me.
I would like to,
Definitely not 2.
We'll forgive you this time.
Not to.
what I would like to do is set up interviews for the work session next Monday for those firms. Because there is 5 as opposed to the 3, and I apologize for that, Bob, I would suggest that you tighten up the interview schedule a little bit and cap it at 20 minutes per firm. Normally, you'd look at 30 minutes for presentation and questions and what have you, but I think that 20 minutes is sufficient with that number of,
So we just have to read them, we don't have to fill out the paperwork?
that's correct.
Okay.
You know, from what I looked at those, Al, I didn't see a nickel's worth the difference between any of them.
I understand, and
What I was thinking is, we keep talking, there's even signs and some storefronts around there to shop locally. You know, we have some local people that's quite adequate, I think. I think it should be really considered, I think that should be one strike in their favor.
I understand, and you have the right to interview any of the 14 firms you choose to. From a staff perspective,
I thought we was gonna select from 5.
well, you're telling me that you want to interview specific firms, that I think you should interview those that you want to.
I'm just suggesting maybe you enter that, at least some of our local people in that 5.
I would tell you that there are 12 firms that don't fit that criteria that would cry foul because that was not part of the scoring criteria that you had sent out. So,
When you're talking about foul, Al, you're talking about ball games, and there's no such thing as a fair ball game.
well, I won't get into sports politics.
You must be a Patriots fan.
I think that to honor the system, you have that out in front of you. But again, I think that you're at 5. When I went through it, I do think there are differences between the firms and some pretty significant differences. But we can interview any of the 14 firms that submitted that you want on the list.
I think we made an issue, Al gave us the 14 to choose from, and we opted to say, we're gonna depend on you and Tim. I think for us now to go back and say, we might as, then he should have just told us, you do the 14 and forget it. That's my feeling. We go with the 5 that Al is recommending and Tim.
That's what we asked for.
Yeah, I don't think we start telling them who has to be.
I only suggested, Bob, I didn't tell anybody anything. I just.
We were told we weren't locked into those 5, though.
You're not locked into anything at this point, and again, I can send those out to you, and if you have some variation from that you want, I would only ask that we make a decision by the end of the day tomorrow, to be fair to whoever we're interviewing, so that they can be here next Monday, because that's your next scheduled work session.
Tomorrow?
Al, who did you say helped pick those out with you?
Tim Donnelly and I were the 2 that went through
Okay.
the firms.
That's what I thought you said. Okay, thank you.
From a staff perspective, with the streets RFQ, he's streets. And so that's why we used him, as well as myself.
Sounds good.
I'll send those out tomorrow morning, and if somebody has a different request, I need to know that pretty quickly. Again, just so we have an opportunity to let them know that they're coming in to talk to us, and they can prepare as well.
What time will they be out by?
I will try and have them out to you by 8:30.
Thank you.
Personally, again, I think we asked Al and Tim to do it. I think we go with the 5. They came back to us with that, just my feeling. I think that's always the problem. We start second guessing, and we want somebody to make a decision, and then we start second guessing them. That's the problem.
I took 10 to 12 hours to go through those 14, and 7 of them I threw right out. So I would like mine to be considered if it's somebody I was pretty strong with. And I asked at the last meeting, so I would like that to be honored.
It will be.
Thank you.
Well, I was one of the first ones to ask for it to be narrowed down to 5, and so I'll stay with, I think what they come, the 5 that they come to us with, we should pick from those 5.
Well, you can interview them at the next one, and if for some reason none of those 5 are what you want, then you go on.
You know, the challenge that you have, and Denny alluded to it, you have 14 firms. I don't know all 14, but I will tell you that there's 12 of them that I know firsthand can do the project. And I'm sure all 14 can, I'm just not familiar with all of them. But, you know, there's 12 that are all going to do the project for you just fine. So you're really getting into some of the nuances of how do they perform, how do they respond to your requests, how, you know, some of that type of thing. So, again, I don't think you're going to make a bad choice, but you have to decide who it is that you want to work with moving forward. And that's why you do the interviews, is who can you get along with?
Okay, anything else?
That's all I have.
That's it?
So Deb can let you know if she has somebody else that you want.
Absolutely, I'll send it out, but like I said, when you see that tomorrow, if you want to take a look at it and make any changes, just let me know right away.
Okay.
Okay, but you have some council people who have said 5. You have, let's just say that I change my mind tomorrow and I say, you know, I want these other 2 that aren't in there.
It will have,
By the time we get done, we'll be back to 14. I mean, I do think that there's a point in time when we say, this is what we asked for as a council. So I hope that every council member doesn't decide that they want to add 1 or 2 of their own, because it's going to get out of control.
you cannot respond to each other, you have to respond to me with that. I just caution you on that, but if there's something that you see differently than what we put together, send it to me, and then I'll reconstitute the list and send it back out to you for another consideration. But, and if you don't want to do it that way, we can push the interviews back and have a special council meeting to do that. I was just trying to honor your time.
Okay.
I don't care.
Did I miss
Why don't you
anybody?
Bring 2 cans.
Huh?
Did I miss anybody? The only thing I had 2 or 3 meetings at the courthouse this last week, so while I was there, I actually voted. We do, just so the public remembers, that a week from tomorrow is Election Day. We have 2 seats that are empty, and each one of those has 2 people that are running. And I hope everybody gets out and votes, and they can go to the courthouse and vote early if they want to, or they can ask for an absentee ballot and do that. But people need to pay attention. We need to get a good turnout. As long as we're paying money for a special election, we should get people to actually vote.
Will the polling places be the same as normal?
No, all of it's at the Falcon Center.
Yeah, so everything?
Everything is at the Falcon Center.
What are the polling
The
hours?
hours are probably 7 in the morning till 8 at night.
Okay, good, so I'll be able to vote.
Yeah.
We should be back in town before 8 o'clock.
And
Yep.
probably people need to know that one of the offices is
At large.
at large.
At large.
You have to remember
So there's
that.
2 different ballots. One of them has just the at-large on it, and then anybody in the 3rd ward has a ballot that has the at-large and the 3rd ward.
So, but everybody
one I
in the
got.
city needs to vote for the at-large.
Yes,
So,
yeah. So I just wanted to make sure people realize their responsibility and their right and privilege to be able to vote, so. That's all I have. Hearing nothing else, I will take a motion for adjournment.
Let's go home.
Motion by Lennius, or not Lennius, by Vaughn, second by Grover. I'm not even looking your way. Man. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
All right.
Motion is carried. We're out of here. Thank you all.
And Yeah, no problem.
Hey, Deb, are you
Yes.
home next Monday for the interviews?
I told Alan I was gonna ask you first.
I will be home.
You get back?
Yes. I leave Wednesday.